When you hear the word forgiveness, how does it impact you? Do you feel joyful, sad, angry, indifferent? What does forgiveness mean to you? Have you ever wondered why forgiveness is so hard? Or if it actually hinders you from hearing God? Jesus was dying on a cross in excruciating pain, with people railing at him, insulting him, and yet he shouted out, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do."
Deep love pouring out and filling up my.
This one thing can unlock so much for us as believers. Hi, I'm Ian, and I make faith-based content with the purpose of helping people to hear God better and go after their God-given purpose in life. In today's video, we're going to tackle the incredibly difficult and important subject of forgiveness. And if you've ever had a problem forgiving someone, you're going to want to stick around to the end and let me walk us through the possible ways to do what probably feels impossible. Let's get into it. Friends, not only is forgiveness one of the 7 commands of Christ for us, see this video here to learn more about that, but it can also be a barrier in having a relationship where we hear God daily. Forgiveness is way more important spiritually to you than the one you are forgiving. And I'm going to explain to you the one big reason why. When I learned this, I was set free in so many ways. And when asked about this deeply, people will often say their fear in forgiving someone is that the person won't experience consequences or justice. If we consider these thoughts, it becomes evident that the true root issue with forgiveness is justice and trust. You see, often we want justice served against someone, and we don't trust God to do it. And so we sit on the judgment seat instead of Him. And the reason that becomes a block for our hearing is because we're on the throne of the one that we want to hear from. See, if we believe our judgment is more sufficient than His, then why does He need to speak with us? You see, then we become God. And so He remains silent. Another struggle or obstacle that we face with forgiveness is we may feel like we're condoning something if we forgive, but that's simply not true. What's really happening in the heavenlies when we forgive is we're releasing our control. We're allowing Him to be merciful where needed, and we're allowing Him to bring His justice, not ours. And the unfortunate challenge with that is we also cannot receive His compensation for what the enemy has stolen, because we're not allowing Him to give it out, not allowing the perfect, good judge to give it out. But take heart, friends. Biblically, there is a way that we can walk through forgiveness. And Jesus actually says, don't finish praying until you forgive. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. And whenever you stand praying, forgive if you have anything against anyone, so that your Father who is also in heaven may forgive your trespasses. The Lord's Prayer also sheds some light on why He shouted as an example for us from the cross. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we have forgiven those who have trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. When we forgive, we remember that we need to be forgiven. And herein lies the keys, friends. Then we are allowed to expose the enemy to God.
Clever girl.
The same enemy that tries to accuse you often to God. But then God sees what Jesus did for you instead. So let's talk about the process of forgiving real quick. So how can we do this? Simply, step one, if there were steps to this, one, confess to God who wronged you. Who or what thing wronged you? And 2, continue in that conversation with God and admit to God how it hurt you through whoever it was or whatever it was. Get brutally honest and let God know. You might be thinking, God already knows. That's right, He does. But He wants you to speak the truth. Jesus said, abide in my word, and you'll know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You see, Jesus doesn't work in anything but truth, and so we must confess the truth of who we are and how we feel during the wronging and admitting whoever or whatever the circumstance was that did it, so that God can walk you through it and remove the belief of lies, if there are any, from your life. All right, and the next step I would take in this process is to confess your need for grace to forgive the situation, person, or circumstance. Now, the key here is for you, not them. In what I'm saying is, you may never, I want to be really clear on this, you may never trust or be in relationship or close to this person or circumstance or thing again. But it's so important that you tell the truth. You confess your need for God's grace to actually forgive. All right, and now we're going to move into the area of justice. So now what I would do is I'd move into an area of asking God to grant justice for what was lost and affected. And this also can be difficult. And also ask for His mercy where He sees fit, so that it would lead to salvation in the circumstance, the person, the situation. Following that up, basically where you can bless something, bless it. Even if you don't want to trust it or be in relationship with it again, where you can bless, bless, and let God take over, and don't curse. And finally, there's hope. Remember to thank God for grace that He has given you to forgive, and for taking over the situation and allowing Him to be on the throne instead of you. And then ask Him to open your ears again so that you can walk hearing Him daily. Friends, over the years, this process that God's shown me and that I've used has set me free in many areas of my life. I want to say this too, especially even in the area of forgiving myself. In other videos, we may talk about how oftentimes forgiveness is hard because of things that we've invited into our life as pain versus things that have intruded in our life where we're a victim. And it's really important that we define those two things, although not in this video. But what I'm saying is that forgiveness of yourself in things that you've done and remembering what Christ did and walking through the same process is just as effective as if you're forgiving someone else or another situation. We need grace for both. Also, a practical tip that I would apply, or I would encourage you to apply, that I've used, is I try to check in on this process weekly, at least, just so that it gives God a chance to check my heart on things that I might need to forgive. See, I don't want my hearing in God to be impeded by something that I have the relationship in God have been granted the permission through Christ to walk through. If your ears are heavy and God feels distant in your life, I encourage you to press into forgiveness. Go ahead and ask God, is there someone or something that I need to forgive? And take heart, because you might be thinking, yeah, there's a lot of things I know I need to forgive. God's not going to overwhelm you with this question. You can pray and have Him remove your own soulish thoughts in your own mind and will and emotions, and ask the Spirit of the living God, ask Holy Spirit to bring to you the thing or the person that you need to forgive. God's good. He's not going to overwhelm you with so much. He's going to walk you through what needs to be healed first and what you can carry first. He wants you to place your burdens on Him, not give you more. If it's still a challenge and you need help with this, sign up for our email list and join the community and send me an email, and I can prayerfully help in some way or serve you. Also, if this video encouraged you or you know someone that it can encourage, please like, subscribe, and share it. It really helps us out to get to the people that we're trying to reach, which is the ones that are really trying to hear God in their life. Thanks for taking the walk with me again today. Until the next one, we love you. Go in courage and walk in faith.